I don't know whether you've come across Murad Merali. Interesting fellow. He does a lot of stuff on reality TV and TV in general. He's got some good pieces, and he's funny and entertaining. But he does have an alarming backstory, and I can understand absolutely why he has a particular interest in the Philip Schofield story and why it has such weight. The barrister, Jane Mulcahy, KC, who's an independent external investigator, who's starting her interviews, it's been revealed that Matthew McGreevy will testify. I think I can use his name now. It's out there, and he will speak. He will speak out. Whether he speaks out, whether this is something that will make Philip Schofield look better or ITV look better, I don't know. But there is a big question hanging over the story, because it's always been said from the very beginning that ITV claim they'd spoken many times. We're now told this was 12 times. 12 times they asked Matthew about the affair, and 12 times apparently he denied it. They asked Philip Schofield 2 or 3 times, and he denied it. In the case of Matthew, we understand Matthew has always said that he was never asked anything. And by the time that that this story had erupted, he had already moved on to Loose Women. Now he's no longer there. His career is in a mess, and that's unfair. And I think it's a chance for him to speak out. It's a chance for him to get his side of the story across. And he's certainly, the videos which have been going around of his show reel and so on, he's very presentable, and I see no reason why he shouldn't be given an opportunity by ITV at the highest level. That would at least repair some of the damage done. I don't really know why that hasn't been floated as a solution. Instead, ITV bosses, as these producers always are, it's a very vicious environment, are out to preserve themselves, these talentless, quote, producers. They must come out on top. They see themselves as separate to, quote, the talent, and in the end I think it's a deeply exploitative system. That is why before unions even got going, that is why there was activity among the variety artists in the music halls to try and assemble and stand up against the bosses, the producers, the management of these theatres, who were deeply exploitative even then. These talentless individuals who controlled how much people were paid, how long they were performing, where they were performing, and there was a circuit. And indeed, even before unionization, there was a sort of a success with collective bargaining for the railways, and the railways produced subsidized travel from theatre to theatre for performers towards the end of the 19th century. And then the Variety Artists Federation was developed in the early days of the 20th century, and took the view that anybody who was performing should be represented. Anybody should be represented. And that would give them the independent structure to be able to deal with abusive, coercive, and forceful management. Whether that was an actor manager or whether that was a talentless whippersnapper who happened to own a theatre or manage a theatre. They still go on. They still exist. The performers, the actor managers, they may not be called producers today, but there are still actors or performers with extraordinary power because they've become such stars, and they can wield that power. And of course, there are still producers who have very little talent, who run around the place controlling people, not only in front of the camera, but long after the camera has stopped rolling. I think it's very important that we hear this fellow's story and that his suffering is acknowledged, and that the true pressure which is from production is exposed for what it is, because I have every suspicion this is not as simple as has been presented. And while I think Philip Schofield has behaved appallingly, I think the real finger of blame is how long ITV bosses have hidden these stories, how much they have indulged Philip Schofield because he was the star, and how much they have damaged Matthew simply to keep their star power on the road, keep their show going. In the end, shows like This Morning should be about people. They're not. They're about production.